Okay, I am just going to run through a story real quick. I'm going to pick a lower level so we can go through it quickly, but all the steps will still be the same. So I'm going into our login screen, and I just named a new student, just named it new student. So I will enter the username for this student and also the password. Okay, and then I will click login.
Please select a story.
This will be the first thing that you see, the first page that you see. The student will pick one. I'll just go ahead and pick apples.
Apples.
Yes.
Are you ready to start this story? Click each keyword.
Okay, then there's a keyword. We'll just pick on each one.
When you pick something, you take it in your hand and pull it off of something else. You can pick flowers from a garden. Ripe. Ripe means ready to be eaten. Green bananas are not ripe, but yellow bananas are. Trees. Trees are large plants with branches, leaves, and thick trunks.
Click a word again.
Okay, after all
next
three words
to
are clicked
continue.
on and listened to, we'll hit next down in the corner.
Play word tasking.
Okay, and this
while
is where
wait
you
for your
have,
teacher.
as a parent or
Click the best answer
an
to score
assistant,
points.
you need to click on conduct cold timing, and I have it so that the adult has to do it so that the student doesn't maybe say they've done more than they should, because it just makes it harder to reach your goal then. So I will go ahead and put my information in,
Click start
and
timing
then we'll get
and
this
begin
screen.
reading.
This is the very first
Click on the
timing.
words
This
you
is
don't
called
know
a cold
to hear
timing.
the read to you. Click
Okay, I will click start on the cold timing, and they will read it out loud. Okay. Let's just say like apples grow, and then they'll just keep going. If they're stuck on a word, you can push it.
Trees.
This will go on for a minute. Just click on any words they had problems with. Okay, let's pretend they're reading out loud. I think you can see why I want the assistant or the adult to do this, because a student, if they do it on their own, some of them might say they've done twice as many as they really did, and that just makes it harder. Okay, so we'll
Click on the
pretend
last
our
word you
student
read
got to
when
this
the bell
word.
sounded.
I'll click on it.
Click next to continue.
I'll click next.
Look at how many words
All
you
right,
read
see the
correctly
blue?
per
That's how
minute.
many words they had.
Click
That
next
was
to continue.
10 words. The other part that's shaded, that's the goal that I gave the student. That would be 30 words. So I will then hit next.
Click start
Okay,
read
now we're
along
on a part
and
called the
read
read
along as
along.
the story is
Read
read to you.
along. The student will press start, and it will read aloud
Apples
3
on
times.
trees. The
I
trees
strongly recommend having the
can
student
grow
follow along with their mouse so
on
you know
an
that they're
apple
doing it.
farm.
Whisper or have them read it out loud. The first time might be a little
trees
more difficult, but
can
then each
grow
time
in a yard.
they should be able to read
Two.
more. Just make sure they keep their eyes on it or it won't do
We
as much
pick
good.
Apples.
Because we're not worrying about memorizing, we're
the
worrying about reading
trees.
the words.
We pick apples when they are ripe. Some apples are green. Some apples are red. Some apples are yellow. Apples are good to eat. We eat them in cakes. We eat them in pies. We drink apple juice. Apples are good for you.
Okay, that's one. We'll do it again. We need to do it a total of 3 times.
Start read along to read along.
Apples grow on trees.
It gets a little faster each time.
The trees can grow on an apple farm. The trees can grow in a yard too. We pick apples off the trees. We pick apples when they are ripe. Some apples are green. Some apples are red. Some apples are yellow. Apples are good to eat. We eat them in cakes. We eat them in pies. We drink apple juice. Apples are good for you.
Okay, now we'll do it the 3rd and final time.
Apples grow on trees. The trees can grow on an apple farm. The trees can grow in a yard too. We pick apples off the trees. We pick apples when they are ripe. Some apples are green. Some apples are red. Some apples are yellow. Apples are good to eat. We eat them in cakes. We eat them in pies. We drink apple juice. Apples are good for you.
Okay, after the 3rd time, the next in the
Click.
corner, you'll
Start
be
read
able to
along
click.
to read along.
So we'll go ahead and click that.
Click start
And
timing
now we're on to the
begin
practice stage. Okay, now we are on the practice step. This is kind of like the cold timing, but they can do this on their own. Hit start, and they will read out loud. Make sure they point. Keep an eye on them so that they get used to actually make sure they're reading and not just memorizing. These are each a minute, just like before. So we'll pretend they're reading. They have already practiced it, so it should be a little better than their cold timing. And they have to do it at least 3 times or until they reach their goal. And remember that I said their goal was 30, I believe, 30. Okay, I'll click on the
You need to
last word,
practice
or they
more
will.
to meet your goal.
Okay.
Click start timing and continue practicing.
If we look down here, it says that they got 16. Practice number 116. So we gotta keep practicing, but we still have to do it 3 times anyway. So remember, it's best to have them point with the mouse. If they don't know it, they can click on it.
Apple.
And it will tell them. And it will also keep track of if they needed help with it too, which is good. Okay, so they're reading along. Okay, I'll click on the last word. We'll
Click
say
on
they
the
read
last
it
word
right
you
down
read when the bell sounded.
to here.
You need to practice more
Okay.
to meet your goal. Click Start Timing
We'll look
and
down to see
continue
what their
practicing.
score is. That one was 18. So if they can get above 30, then this will be their last one. So I clicked Start. Alright, we'll pretend they're reading along. They're reading along. The tree can grow in a yard too. We pick apples off the trees. We pick apples when they are ripe. Some apples are green. Some apples are red. We'll just keep going. So
Click on the
we'll
left.
pretend I got down here.
You've reached your goal.
It says they reached your goal.
You've
We look
finished
down
all
at what
your
it
practices.
is.
Click Start Timing.
So we got
to
51.
practice
So
again.
we are now able
Or
to go on to the
click
next
Next
step.
to
Click
continue.
next. If they didn't reach your goal, you just keep on going until they did or until you felt comfortable. So I hit next, and then we're on
Click the
a
best
quiz
answer,
part.
and then click Next.
Test. I have them read it out loud. What is most of the story about? And you want, for this one, you want to say, what is it almost every single sentence about? We eat apples and cakes? No, that's only one sentence. We grow and eat apples? That seems like a pretty good answer, but always read all of them. Some apples are green. So we'll go down here and click next. Okay, that sounds means it's right. When do we pick apples? And I like having them go back and show the answer too. Definitely look back if they're not sure. When we eat pie, when they are ripe, when we drink juice. Okay, look down here. We pick apples when they are ripe. What does the word grow mean in this story? The words that are blue, and there's always one vocabulary question. You can click
When
on it.
things
I always
grow,
have them
they
click on
get
it.
bigger, taller, or longer. The small puppy will grow into a big dog.
Okay, so we know it's to get bigger. Click next. Try that again. Okay, where do we get apples? From cakes, from pies, or from trees? Well, in this story, we know it's from trees. All right, now there's another question. Number 5 is where they type it. Some students might be able to. Some, if I'm crunched for time, I just have them tell me it and then I type it. I'm just going to push some keys just to get through. Name some places you can get apples. Okay. Of course, I'd be using a real answer. Then we'll hit next. And that takes us
Now you're ready to pass.
to the final step.
Read the story and play Wordtastic.
Final
into your
step, it's a lot like the original one. You got to have the adult or the assistant or teacher click on it. So I will put my password in. I will click log in. This is the final time, so you want to encourage them to do your best. So we'll hit start. Apples grow on trees. The trees can grow on an apple farm. The trees can grow in a yard too. We pick apples off the trees. We pick apples when they are ripe. Some apples are green. Some apples are red. Some apples are yellow. Apples are good to eat. We eat them in cakes. We eat them in pies. We drink apple juice. Okay, so the last
Click
word
on
was
the last
juice.
word you read
I'll
when the
click
bell
on it. It
sounded.
says I did 54. Number of words missed. I didn't miss any. Now this one is expression. I like to think of it as 1 is like a robot sounding out words, and 4 is perfect, just like you're talking. 3, of course, is really good, and 2 is okay. I will click 4. Okay, then I'll hit next. Okay, it gives me a graph. The last timing we did was called a hot timing. That's the red. I love the students to look at it, see how much better they've done over time. Or over all that practicing, see how much better they could get. So the blue one was first and the red was the last. Now if we did more than one timing, well, I'm going to hit next and then I'll show you something. Let's just pretend that answer was correct. Yes, I'll hit next. Okay, now this is what I was ready to talk about before. We'll see all the stars. That means we passed all the goals. Now, if let's say we didn't reach the goal, there would be a little button right next to it that said you could retry it or redo it, and you could try it, and they could either reread it one more time to try to reach the goal, or if it was a question, they could redo the question, or you could just, there's also a pass with current scores. All right, but in this case, we got them all right. I always have them come up here, click on fluency. This is a graph. Now, of course, we only have one story, but if we have, as we go along and along, hopefully you'll see your blue's getting higher and your red's getting higher. There's one for comprehension also. See a retail up here? I just marked that not to, I don't really use that when the students are doing it mostly on their own, so I just skip that step. So we'll come down to next. And this shows me that they passed everything, and then we'll hit next.
Story. Click done to finish.
Or done.
Please select a
And
story.
we'll pick a new story and we'll start all over again. So it's really not too bad, and like I said, I really like the graphs on here. They get better and better. Just make sure they're reading along, make sure they're reading aloud, not just memorizing. And I really think you'll see a pretty good improvement. And just once you get used to it, take about 15 minutes depending on the level. So over time, I think that would really help their fluency. Thank you.